guns, they didn't shoot them or anything, they just twirled them.
It was awful.
We had one at the court one day, I've been told Cliff too, and I didn't find out very good.
You stand for the pledge of allegiance?
Yep.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order, roll call.
Mayor Westergaard,
Yes.
Bowler,
Yes.
Stanky,
Yes.
Tom,
Yeah.
Bolton,
Yeah.
Reese.
Yes,
Looks like no public forum?
Yeah, I got some.
Okay.
I got a couple. One, I was kind of disappointed with the sign in Eric's yard. I would think that we would be concerned about our kids, and why would we put a sign inside the sidewalk that should be out in the curb? So what is
Okay.
our, obviously, they were told they couldn't put it out in the
Yeah,
curb.
you bet.
Why is that?
Because
It's a
we-
safety sign.
We would want, you know, the signs that go in the right of way need to be certified, traffic signs, you know, and they would be certain size and be of the same type that's in the manual and uniform traffic control laws. If it's a private sign, if we wouldn't allow private signs in the right of way.
Well, I just think this is a safety issue, and I think that we should have tried to work something out with them, because in the first place, it looks stupid. In the second place, it's not gonna help anything, and I think we wanna protect our kids. And that speed on that road is a problem, even with the speed trailer that was there. So I think we need to look at something else other than that speed trailer, but I just think when it was a safety sign, that maybe they could have come to the council and asked for permission, or we could do something.
I think it'd
I
be,
wasn't happy with it.
I think it'd be a good idea to put speed bumps all over.
Well, you might need one down there, but
You
I
can do
just,
one on my street.
that sign,
Is there,
I just think we ought to allow it, that's what I think.
is there a chance you could apply for a variance if this, is that state or county road? What is that?
It's city, you know, it's city. You guys manage that road.
Yeah, but I mean, who says that we can't then?
You just only want public signs within the public right of way. It's your public right of way, you need to manage it.
I don't agree as far as a if it's a
And if that's the
safety
case,
thing.
then the city ought to put the sign there.
Well, I agree.
So maybe that's what we
Obviously.
need to do.
I haven't seen the sign.
I've seen them.
It's slow, children and
the
play.
Oh,
Right.
one of those signs.
A lot of times they put that little dummy out there.
Curtis.
Right. But that,
Is it like a homemade sign, like a piece of board that's
No.
painted?
no,
It's a metal sign.
it's
Oh,
a
it
metal.
looks like a real.
Yeah, just bought it, yeah. Yeah.
I just think, I know we can't decide right now in public forum, but I think we need to bring it up on the next agenda, because I'd like to see it change. What we
Just
do.
let the city put it up then.
Well, but then you
Okay,
probably
that's-
need them a lot more places than just that.
Well, and see, that's the other argument that you give when you have the city putting up signs. People have come to request these before, and it's granted some years ago, and the cities ended up saying, what's unique about your area, you know, about kids playing there versus kids playing in other neighborhoods, and they have chosen at times not to do it.
See, we get that with the bus signs, they complain about a place that you think needs a sign. Well, if the county don't think you need a sign, you ain't gonna get it, you know?
Well, if you had a kid hit on that road, you'd feel really bad that you didn't let a sign go up
I
there.
know.
And the thing about that street is, it is a real speed thing coming. It's coming in from out of town. So I just think it's something we ought to put on the agenda like that. And if it gets voted down, it gets voted down, but at least it won't be because I didn't bring it up.
Well, there's enough bumps
I don't
in the
know.
road, you can put a speed bump and nobody knows it.
There's a speed limit sign there. And obviously, people don't obey the
No.
speed limit sign either.
No, they don't.
But I think when you see signs or you see the speed thing, You do notice how fast you're
Oh,
going, you
the
notice what
speed
that,
trailer, you notice.
you do.
Is
And
that
I think if
faster?
you see children or you see a school crossing, I mean, I pay attention, I'm sure there's drivers that don't, but I think there's people. that do.
Obviously, I don't, because I haven't seen the sign.
Apparently not.
Been there.
Well, and the road was open, I mean, they had to
Oh.
use this road because the other one was closed for, you know, it just opened up again, you know, this week.
And then I know we talked about this, but I don't know, I guess maybe there's a lot going on and I get sidetracked, but we got this from Dave Jennett about Reardon's property. Where are we at with that? I mean, I thought we were gonna move ahead with this, right, Dave?
Yeah, I don't know that Dave can see, but I had forwarded that email you had sent about that proposal for the other attorneys about the Reardon settlement, and I forwarded that out to the council, and that's what they're talking about.
Well, on June 11th, Dave Jennett sent it to you and said this might be the solution. And it goes clear back to when Mike Green did that color-coded thing, Dave.
Right.
So are we, can you update me where we're at? I can't remember.
Well, Jeff Manick, who represents two of the Reardon sisters, had contacted me, does that say June on it? So
Yeah, it says
that'd be
June
about
11th.
then. And so then we resurrected up the map that Mike Green had prepared, and while the council hadn't explicitly approved the matter as Mike Green was proposing, I sent that email to Scott saying we're talking about it again, and this might be something that we want to do just to get this over with and get it done.
So
And
do
what
you need,
the main holdup right now is that depot building.
We're gonna keep that.
What, for a historical or what?
No, get rid of it.
Oh, I thought they don't wanna keep it?
Kim wanted it, but I told him we couldn't have it unless he moved it out of town. We'd have to bid on it.
I see.
And I think that's what it says in my email, doesn't it?
I don't remember what that.
Because they can have it, but basically I'm telling them they can have it, but they gotta move it, and then they could have the land that's underneath it, or if they're not going to agree to move it, and by that I mean pronto,
Right.
then we're gonna keep it, take it down, is what I've told them.
And we were gonna release those two properties so they can sell the homes or we can do something.
Right. And then we're gonna let them, they already have some claim of title to that horizontal street, the east-west street, that's south of their houses there. And then that garage is sitting in the city street, and the county tax assessor has it assessed, but the address, dimensions of the lot are 00, so they know it's in the street, so. Anyway, I said that would probably have to be moved too.
so what, and I think, you had another email after this and I didn't bring it with me. I thought I did, but I did not. So, what can we do to move forward?
Well, what we talked about with Mike Green, he said, either we get something done with this, or he was going to go back in and ask the court to relieve him as receiver. And that would be the next thing. We'll go back to court and report to the court what's going on, and then if we could come up with some consensus as to how the receiver should proceed, we would get a court order to that effect. Otherwise, the property had assessed against it, I think, $16,000 worth of cleanup costs on this last tax bill. And obviously, that's probably not going to get paid. And so the back door of this is to come in and have the county assign that tax certificate to the city. But that's a lengthy process.
Right, but could we go after those two houses? Those are derelict buildings. Could we do that and force them to do something?
I already gave a nuisance notice on, and I don't have this file here at home, but Pauline, is it, who died, the mom?
Yeah, Pauline.
I sent out a nuisance notice on that, so we could proceed with that as a nuisance too, and then go ahead and clean it up, and assess costs against that too. I've held off doing that because the solution that seems to gain the most traction is that the city deeds them some of that unused right-of-way, and then they go ahead and sell those two properties, two houses that are there, and then we would get a deed to what's parcel C on that map, I think, which is what was cleaned up.
Right.
And I've held off on tying up title to those houses. If, on the one hand, they say they want to sell them, and then we tie up title, they won't be able to sell them.
Otherwise, we have to wait for back taxes. How long will that take before we own that property?
It'll take forever.
7 years.
Yeah, about 3 or 4 years.
But even then, they can, which would be fine if they come back and pay it, which I'm sure they won't. But that's a lengthy process. I just thought if we could do something sooner, can we put it on the agenda and, I don't know, it's hard when you're on Zoom. I mean, I can
Yeah.
hear you, but can you come up with some options for us to do maybe, look at?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll get back together with Minnick and also Mike Green. Like I said, the last time I talked to Mike, he was ready to throw in the towel if we couldn't work something out.
I'd like to work something out, and then if they can't sell it, then, because it's just a real eyesore and it's getting worse and we're not getting anywhere. Anyway, whatever you can do would be helpful.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I think I'll shut up for that.
Okay, consent agenda.
Hey, just one thing on that consent agenda, that I didn't pass around, bills actually get signed, I'll go get those. But just everybody note that the payment to the golf course is included in the bills this time.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion on the consent agenda? Second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Holden? Thank you.
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
So anybody have, just a minute, anybody have complaints about the beer stand? A lot of people are complaining that nothing else is open and the beer stand is, what's going on? And there won't be no social distancing in there.
For a carnival?
Well, yeah, for the carnival, the men's club having their beer stand.
Mm-hmm.
People are kind of, I've talked to a lot of people that are real upset about that. Now, I don't matter to me, I've never been in this.
I just don't think conservatives should stay home.
Well, whatever,
That's what
I told them, bring it up,
Well, yeah, we're gonna talk about that here in a minute.
Okay, we have a consent on the building permits.
Yes, one change on this, big change on this. Item B there, Barb and Dwayne Schultes. They have withdrawn their building permit. And they've bought another house. They won't be building. So they're withdrew that.
It's probably a good idea because anyway, I was concerned about that.
We had I know Eric had some lengthy discussions with them about this project and about what constitutes an attached property. And it was, I'm sure we're gonna hear some more about that too, to maybe better define what constitutes an attached property.
Make the motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Laura?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Wolf? Tom?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we have to amend the building permit for Mark Gray.
Yeah, this is for that structure up there, 110 Horseshoe. They put a deck on the backside and south side of that. And it was pointed out to me by the neighbors, and we had to find the back property pin to make sure everything was compliant yet, which it is. So this would just be an amendment to the building permit suggested.
So I just have a question about how that works. So, do they pay another building permit?
Now, we actually have a provision in our building permit code that allows for an amendment like this.
So is that what we did for like Vernon when he did it? I just wanted to make sure we're doing the same for everybody.
I'm not sure.
So I was thinking that he paid for one and,
We've done another amendment here recently too, and I couldn't remember who
I
it was.
just want to make sure everybody's treated the same.
Have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Hold on.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Holden.
Yes.
Don.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So on Vern's, you did not do an amendment, or you did?
I'd have to check. This would deal with that patio out the back and
Right.
I thought
initially
that
whether
he-
it had a railing or not. He withdrew his permit initially because, and
Did.
didn't put the railing on, and then when he put the railing on, he got a permit.
But I'm almost thinking that he paid again. And I
Yes,
just-
you did.
And I don't think that's fair when one person
Right.
pays and another doesn't. So whatever our ordinance is, I think we need to look at that.
I
I just
just-
want
I would
everybody treated the same.
I just wanted
And
to
clean
confirm.
it up if that's, if there's anything more specific, so for everybody.
So if we owe Vern back that permit.
Second.
Second.
We'll have to double check, but
And he
I'm
also,
not so sure. I think he paid for the first one, and he didn't pay the second time. So I would want to confirm.
I wouldn't mind seeing how, is it in our ordinance and book? I just would like a clarification on it, I guess.
Okay, well, open the public hearing on the city-owned property at 408 Main. No public hearing? No public-
No, I haven't heard comments on that. Nobody has submitted any comments to me. But if you want to go through this with the council about the proposed development agreement with Dr. Bode. Starting on page 7 is that same development agreement that we had discussed last time. Page 9 is the area that includes this timeline. And Dr. Bode has some concerns, real concerns about an ability to find a contractor in a timely manner and be able to get on with construction as this would say. So this has phase 1 about doing the plans, phase 2 building, to have them commence construction within 5 months. What he would like to request is that the city would leave phase 1 the way it is, so you're preparing the design and sending out for bid within the 4 months, but that there would not be a phase 2, there'd just be a project completion date after that then. And his suggestion on project completion date is 2 years from the date of the development agreement signed.
So he would still do phase 1.
Within the 4 months. Yep.
I certainly want to work with him on this, but we have been 2 years in this whole process. And if we don't have any kind of date for him to start, and I understand the building, I understand his concern about getting a contractor, because that is hard. But it seems to me like we could put some kind of a clause in that we would, you know, if there was extenuating circumstances, you know, that we would extend. But I hate to not have any kind of a start date, and now we sit here for 2 years, and what if he doesn't do it? Now we've sat here 2 more years and couldn't have sold that property. I think 2 years is a long time.
I think we should wait 2 months.
I think we need a start date of something. You gotta be able to start
Well,
within a year.
the starting of the construction part, you mean?
Yes,
The
it's
first
just,
phases in the state.
right.
Well, in phase 1, it says send out for bids. Once you send out for bids, in that bid,
You're gonna be getting someone at
would
a
you be getting
contract.
the completion date in that bid?
I would think so.
Yeah, that's how things, I think, would go.
But we wouldn't have any say-so on that.
Right. But
I mean, we don't approve phase 1. right? We just require it.
Right.
We're not gonna review it and approve it.
Other than, that's the time for permitting, so that, in this case, it would actually come to the council.
Then why can't we have some kind of building construction? I could see where he would be worried about 5 months,
Mhm.
but I would think a year, or,
Well, I'm saying completion should be within 18 months instead of 2 years.
Yeah, I understand
What
that.
he wanted.
but you'd still be 18 months of nothing if you didn't. I'm just concerned about it, that's all.
He can walk away after 18 months, he's out nothing.
And we're
We're
sitting
stuck.
here with, it's just such a long process. It's been such a long process and it continues to be. I just would like to see some kind of a start date within a year, because if you can't do it within a year, I wouldn't think that, I think you'd get a contractor within a year.
So you want it written specifically in there that you need to start within a year's time.
But does
Yeah,
he
phase
want-
2, I
you have to
think.
have a contract for like-
Well, right now, phase 2 is 5 months from the
Is
purchase.
that the
Right.
kind of contract
So
that he needs, like on one?
5 months or do you want it, what?
I was thinking like a year from the end of phase 1 or something. I don't know. I'm open to it.
But that still leaves a long time.
That's
That's,
too,
4 months, it leaves,
but well,
You know,
they,
it leaves 16
that's
months.
the kind of contract that he needs.
it's a long time. before
He
you
thinks
start
he's gonna get some
construction.
special guy
16
that
months.
just does bigger days.
Oh, I see.
I'm saying completion is 18 months.
And I'm good with that.
Well, I suppose, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Not somebody local, you gotta have somebody special because.
So, what was, I guess, what were we talking about?
She's talking about 18 months for completion date, and I'm good with that.
Okay,
I still would like to see something for a start date in phase. I would like to see phase 2 amended, but not eliminated.
okay.
So what I'm saying is, though, if you're saying a year, well, really, you got 4 months in the first time frame there, right? So you want it to start within 8 months after that construction. You want it firmly put in there. Because that would give you the 12 months you're talking about.
Maybe in that time frame we could paint the front of that little building.
Now, whether we own that other building or not, because we wouldn't finish that other building until, we wouldn't finish the ownership process until the dental project is complete. But we
No,
would,
no,
we would
I
still,
didn't.
we'd still have, we basically have access to the property as in we would lease it out.
I thought that when we do the switch, I thought, the way I read this, that when we do the switch, that simultaneously, he takes that property, we take this property.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't complete this thing by this completion date, then we flip back,
And
right?
you're-
But
yeah.
we own it in that meantime, right? And you said we probably couldn't sell it, but we could rent it.
That's what I'm figuring.
So can you make any kind of structural changes to the building? You probably can't.
No.
Why can't
To
we
accommodate somebody is what I'm saying, or if they wanted to come in and make some
Right.
changes, are they gonna be able to do that?
Well,
Because we have people that I think are
lots
interested in
of
this,
folks have been contacting
and,
us.
and we're just.
Why can't we just swap them, properties now?
Right.
And
Why do you wanna-
And then we shouldn't have to be worried about it.
Why do you want to give it back to him if somebody else is gonna rent it or buy it?
I think you are worried about his time, but I agree that we could just flip.
Because if that's his plans, we should be able to swap them now
And be done with it?
and be done
Right.
with it. And then really let him do it on his own time, because it looks a lot better than it did before. What's there now is an improvement than what was there.
Just for a talking point though, going out for some sort of tax incentive at the end of the process.
Tax abatement for new construction.
Right.
That's all. We've already done all the incentives.
Right, but I'm just saying, if he doesn't have a reasonable timeline, can this council say, well, I'm just,
Yeah, I want to do a little thinking on that, because it's allowed by ordinance, but the council has to approve it. The council approves every project, so.
But I wouldn't, and I'm sure that Dr. Vogt wouldn't do this, but I wouldn't wanna set a precedent for, okay, now we've made this switch, and like Dave wants to do, we're done. Now we own that one, we can proceed with that. But now we've got, I think he needs some kind of a development agreement with him for that property, because you can't have him start, or anyone else that bought another property, you can't just start building and then quit or something. You see what I'm saying? I think he needs some kind of a development agreement. But I do agree with Dave on the switch. Why can't we just switch it?
Right, I can't see why we couldn't.
Then we can move forward with the other building.
That way everybody knows what they're doing.
So, Dave, Janet, what's the enforcement mechanism on this then, if we swap properties and nothing happens? Or he fails to meet the timeline?
The way it's set up right now, it would just revert back to the present status.
Can we just swap properties though?
Yeah, we can. I kinda like that idea, actually.
I do too. I like that idea. So, let's say we're gonna do that, then Dave, what do we need to do for an agreement with him on putting up in a building? Are we, like Dave says, we don't need to do anything, or do we need a development agreement to make sure the construction doesn't, like we had that building and that guy that owned it sat there and kept remodeling it for what, 10 years, and it sold twice and they kept remodeling. I just don't wanna get back into that.
Right, but there's nothing there.
I understand. So what if he built and only got halfway done? So.
Well,
I don't think that's.
Well,
Why
once
would
it's his
somebody wanna
property,
throw
why
the
would
money
he
down the
start, I
drain like
can't
that?
see him starting, in his case,
Right.
starting and not finishing.
Well, he's got that grant on the road.
Yes,
Yeah.
he does.
I'm just
So-
saying things happen sometimes.
Ain't there a timeline on that, the grant?
Right.
would
I
think.
don't know the answer. There sure would, I would
I
think.
would think so.
Oh, I'm sure there is. It's a loan, it's not a
But,
grant.
if you do want to look at that, basically, again, like phase 2 saying that you'd start construction within 1 year, and phase 3 is still there to finish the project and finish it within 18 months. And just that the property swap occurs at the execution of the development agreement.
Does that sound good, Mr.
I like
Bennett?
that idea.
Yeah, we do need a development agreement. I hear what Dave's saying, but I think we need something. We won't have any control of that property once we let it go if we don't have a development agreement.
I agree. You just don't, there's all kinds of unforeseen things that could happen. And whatever you do with this property, you might have to do with the property down the road. Somebody could start remodeling or something and never get done. I just think you have to control Main Street a little bit. Because we just had that problem, that's why we went after that guy. And if we could not have to do that ever, that's a long process too.
Okay. Well, I got 3 things out of this: to start construction within 1 year, project completion within 18 months, and that we swap properties immediately at the execution of
So if we
the.
start, that gives us 6 months to look at the whole brand new building.
Gives them 18 months from now.
From the time that the property is switched, that's still, we should still be able
That's,
to do that.
Probably too.
Well,
But I would like to have a clause in there that, if he runs into unforeseen difficulties that,
he can come to the council for an
yeah,
extension.
because I want to work with him on this, I truly do, so. We all
If you
do.
find out more when we're not bid on the project.
Let's see what kind of, how many actually bid on. That'll give you a good idea.
Yeah, for extension upon unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah, because, just look at the Terrell thing, look at all.
I brought that up earlier, I thought, well, is anything happening
Look
there?
at all the snags he's had up there, so things happen.
Are we clear on the public hearing?
Yeah, I believe.
Okay. Close the public hearing. Ordinance 510, this is the third reading. Second?
Second,
Roll call.
Owen. Moller.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Resolution 2038, that's our transmission
Yeah,
line.
so, in 2009, the city bought into this electric transmission project through the Iowa Public Power Agency. And so this is that project where we own a little bit of electric transmission. And we do see a little bit of a dividend come back to us every year, but it's hundreds of dollars. I believe it's ranged between $400 and $600. But this, and there's 10 years still of debt to pay on it. You don't ever see any debt payments flowing out of this. The debt is paid by the revenue that we generate off of our portion that we own. And so it's just all taken care of by the agency. But we do have the opportunity here to refinance, and it lowers the interest rate, and it lowers from what had been 6 to about 3.5%. So over the course of the remaining 10 years of debt, it saves the city about $15,000, and we should, I'd recommend you go ahead and do this.
So moved. Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Boltman? Reese?
Yes.
Volk? Muller?
Yes.
Stinky?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Okay, on the lagoon project, we have a change order.
Yeah. A couple things, just a little update before we get into that about where we are. That the lagoons are getting full. The lagoons are virtually full right now. And, you know, when we were taking that tour, they talked about they would get full and then it would start to flow over this weir. And that's about the stage where it's at now. So the next thing that happens is that it starts to fill those saggers. So the underground part starts to fill. And those got to be filled to about 80% capacity before the next Nexum, the vendor, comes in to help with the installation of the air system. That's scheduled then for July 27th. It looks pretty full right now, you know, like this might not take that long, in which case they'd have to get here a little earlier because we got to fire the thing up.
So they'll do the train out of that Sager system at that time?
Yeah. And then the other thing that is still pending is connecting the water main. And this is the water main connection there at TCT Trucking. This has more to do with the city than the contractor. The contractor's been here trying to make that connection. The city has not been able to isolate that area for them to be able to get the connection made. As far as our valves, they can't get the valves to adequately shut off water supply. So, and we know that we have valves around town that don't work. And this is just a bad situation where you got water flowing from both sides, down the highway and then also down the road from Dina Hogues. There's water coming at it from two directions, and you got to shut off the water from both directions then.
To make the connection.
In order to make this connection.
And we can't do that.
Right. We do have a contractor, and we've used this contractor before. Clouser Plumbing has, they come in and they will cut it in live. So they'll cut it. We will get 2 new valves out of this, and they'll be able to proceed then with the installation. Clouser is coming here. It's either tomorrow or Wednesday that they will be here to make those connections, and Grundman Hicks will come the day after then to get the water.
So we're gonna have to pay for that.
We pay for the valves, yeah.
And how much is that?
Well, they'll run a couple thousand or $2,500 a piece.
Not cheap.
No, this is more expensive to do the live cutting.
Oh, sure it is.
Oh, you bet.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
So there'll be a change order.
No, we just stand cost.
Oh.
You know, that's to the city's existing system.
Right, got it.
Okay. So, on this then, on a change order, this would be change order number 4. This implements liquidated damages. So we did have a little bit of a back and forth with them on the liquidated damages amount. We told them that our costs were the $66,000 that we had started with.
Was
And
that figure, the actual figure from the $500 per day? Is that what that figure came from?
No, that was our actual costs.
Oh.
Those were the costs that we would have incurred, including a lot of personnel time, and they raised some red flags about we included all of our power, our electricity out there for operating the existing plant, when we would have to have power to operate the other one, so they had some arguments on that. But there was a couple back and forths on this, on the amounts. So the settlement would be $51,000 of liquidated damages and the 3rd year of maintenance. And they have signed the change order, and we have the executed new bond from the bond.
So they've accepted all of that.
So what is the startup date then for the when we go through the whole system, once the system becomes full on, is that when it starts, when we have,
For the bond,
yes.
starts at project closing, yes.
Okay, so once the whole system has gone through and it's running, we're extracting
Yes.
finished product,
That's the project.
that'll be the,
That's project closeout time, and the
That's what's
three,
done?
3 years would start at that time.
And when do we anticipate?
Boy, it will be sometime into August for sure, when, if Nexum is coming on the 27th.
and you said this like a year warranty is,
3%, I think they told us.
so it'll be about 30,000?
That was, I figured that. Yep.
So then that'd be about 81,000 out of that 114 that we recovered for them, so.
But then Deemster wants 25, I would think.
Yeah, so let's consider this, I guess, in two things, that there's the change order for liquidated damages. The liquidated damages at 51,000. The contract amendment with Veenstra and Kim is basically for half of that, $25,500. Which we had, you know, the estimate that we've used in our costs leading up to this point was $30,000.
For Deemster.
We need a motion on change order number 4 for liquidated damages.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Muller,
Yes.
Stanky,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Wolf, Reese.
Yes.
Now we have to pay the engineer.
Yeah, can we have a motion to approve the amendment and authorize payment?
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Wolf, Muller,
Yes.
Stanky,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Can I bring up one thing while we talk about this?
Yes.
We talked about having some sand in there. Has anybody been paying attention to that? Is that problem still coming through, or is that just from the pipes flush, or is?
I'll have to check on it, I don't know.
Yeah, we should determine that.
Yeah, we should. Right.
No, we've done the engineer on, so we're done with the lagoon.
Library project. Pay estimate number 5.
Yeah, actually, so just a little project update there, the project's come along real good. The electrical, I think, is basically done. And you see the mason there working, and it's got actually quite a little bit of the work done. We had asked them to try to find a split face block that more closely matches the existing building, and they weren't able to. So you'll notice that the split face block on the new part will be a little lighter than what the other one is. And it'll kind of weather in over time, but it's the best that they can do.
It's not all you can do.
We have a motion on pay estimate number 5.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Muller,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Bolton, Tom,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
We need a motion on change order number 6.
Yeah, this is $3,700. It's the additional sidewalk and the concrete work.
We didn't do the step yet, did we?
No, the sidewalk's been done and the step needs to be done out the north court.
We have that motion.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Muller,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Bolton, Reese.
Yes.
Now we have to approve the snow removal agreement, which we always do.
Yeah, same,
Same thing.
this is the same agreement we've had for the over the past year.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Bolton,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
So Blackhawk Recreation Rentals, new business.
yeah. Just on that though, this is a request basically to lease some land to Blackhawk Recreation Rentals, who would then rent out kayaks, paddleboards, sell some water-related stuff. They'd have an enclosed trailer that they would bring down to an area down there at the boat ramp. And the area is defined in here as somewhere like between the DNR pump house and the boat ramp. And we would allow the business then to be on public land.
You have like a
There.
square footage estimate on that?
It's It's in
Is in there?
Because
Missed it.
they were gonna use.
20 by 40, you know, the space is about 20 by 40.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it does need to be defined. Because I wondered how close they were gonna be to the shelter house. Somewhere it says that they are.
Yeah, that they would get power from the
From
shelter.
the power from the shelter house, is that gonna impact people that are using the shelter house? I mean, I'm all in favor of this, but I was just wondering.
That was the nearest opportunity for power. Other than there's a power outlet on that power pole by the building. And that's another option that they could get power from, but if they need water, then they'd do water at the shelter. That's
I
not,
just didn't want to, like, if you had a group picnicking there, for that to be, for that shelter house to be impacted, is the thing I was worried about.
That trailer will stay there all the time, then, so.
through these months, and we're proposing payments to be May through September, would be the term of the lease. They'd very much like to get into this lease agreement with us and pay us for these months of May through September. They do not intend to be in business for this year. They're just not able to get profit. So you see that the lease agreement actually goes through September then of 20, and that they would fire things up next spring.
Is there any exposure for the city insurance wise?
Just that, yeah, we'd looked at this thing before, and this was permissible. We do have them provide an insurance policy listing the city as an additional insured, and it takes $1 million.
So how much does that cost for private insurance for $1 million? What does that cost the city?
Nothing.
No, nothing.
That's
That-
theirs.
they
It's
provide-
theirs to have it.
But we don't have to pay it, we don't have any insurance on it.
No additional.
It says the lessee agrees to indemnify and hold harmless the lessor, which would be us.
Okay.
So I would tell you, Janet has looked at this
Okay.
and reviewed and actually made a change to it, and it's been incorporated.
Just one on record.
I just, and that first year you can kind of see how things goes, but my only concern is about that shelter house and how that'll be impacted, so it's something we might want to talk with them about, see what we can do with buildings. Certainly the first year, I think, you're gonna try to work out the kinks and see how it goes. So are they gonna start paying rent when?
Upon the execution of this, the rent's also supposed to be $20 a month.
Yeah, I
and
know.
it's not a huge,
Oh, that one, it is $20.
Yeah.
And is this lease agreement then just through in September 30, 2021, and we would review everything? Okay.
this was, not intended to be a long-term deal right now. This was something to be reviewed.
Okay.
You want a motion to approve the agreement?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Holtman.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Benke.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna close a few things for the carnival.
Yeah, let's go through this a little bit on Carnival. And actually, let's just take a look at the schedule, which is on page 31. So Carnival itself just runs on Friday, basically Friday night and then all day Saturday. And really about the only thing going on Friday night is that the beer garden opens that evening. There's an open mic time, open mic karaoke time, that'll be on the West Shore Pier. And the kids have liked that, but mainly the main thing is the beer garden. Scott Kirkard is the music performing there that night. So in regards to the beer garden, their intention is that what they're doing is enlarging the physical space of the beer garden. So you'll see that it goes maybe a little bit further to the west, and then also incorporates a little bit of that area where mud volleyball usually is. They're not having mud volleyball tournament. Okay? So that's the biggest thing, as far as space, is to allow for more space, hopefully for people to social distance. But they'll have one main beer serving area, but they also got two other satellite beer serving areas. Again, the idea being, don't get big crowds to congregate around the one bar. So some efforts there as far as social distancing. See what goes on Saturday. You can do yoga by the lake, the Belgian waffle feed. The community club is doing the Belgian waffle feed.
And right now we have probably 2 people working.
Plus two, which you might be
Those 2.
Actually, we're gonna get to all four. Art in the park, and actually art in the park very likely will be art in the grassy area between the Schompiers. It'll be along the road there, I think, this year. They have a 5K road race, okay, street parade.
So there won't be anything in the park. I mean, it'll all be over by the lake.
It'll be
Well,
over by
that'd be
the lake.
nice. That'd be nice.
Street parade, just the main thing about the street parade is that the route extends. So you think about the traditional route where it comes from school and then down Fifth Street and down Madison Street to First Street from Madison comes over to Main back up to Third Street, so you're right by the City Hall or the grocery store. Then it turns and goes down by the lake. And it stays on Third Street, down past Town Bay, turns up Lake Street, and then back up Fifth Street to get back uptown. It extends the route, about doubles the size of the route.
It'd be nice, yeah.
And just the idea, again, that people can space out.
So, are they gonna do it as
Yeah, I think
I
there's,
say that, but
I think they would be encouraged maybe not to, but there can be no enforcement.
So how they go at
so
Saturday?
they could,
So has anybody tried to?
Huh? I mean, did they
Doesn't sound
throw
like it.
candy or what?
they did not.
And people didn't like it?
Well, their parade was so much smaller, would you say, than their normal parade. There was more emergency vehicles, horses, and
So, don't forget the tractor.
One track.
One
one
tractor.
tractor.
So,
But
so,
today I heard complaints from, it lasted 20 minutes. And they weren't throwing candy, and for to have a 2-year-old kid sit there watching parade, it was hard to keep their attention, because there's nothing for the kids, as far as candy and stuff.
So will we have horses?
I don't remember.
You know,
I mean, did we have
they're
that?
they're permitted, okay? But even for the past couple of years, like the Saddle Club hasn't ridden in the parade.
I know. That would,
But
well,
anyway,
I was just wondering for the heat.
Oh,
I would encourage to allow them, because throwing candy isn't gonna hurt anything out of it. Social
it's
distancing.
just touching, I think, is probably the thing, but, they changed the rules so many times that who knows what they're already. As far as touching, as far as surfaces go, I don't know.
You know, one that goes for it.
Okay,
John's got it.
okay.
Kids gotta have something.
I mean,
Well, anyway, I like the parade route. I know it's longer for some of them that are walking.
After the parade, the activities start up again. Pedal tracks, cardboard boat races, so some people will turn out for that. Little Miss Blackhawk, I think the pageant very likely occurs on a different day than this, like maybe the week before. And Kim had talked about having the pageant, having all the question and answer stuff, like at the Lutheran Church or something like that, to where it doesn't all occur during the weekend. And then you bring the girls out and ask them a couple questions and announce the winners instead.
Why did she decide to do that?
Very concerned about the facts.
Oh, and having the kids there. I think it gets a little long winded. I think the questions are.
And you have to be from Sac County, you're not letting anybody from outside the
Well,
county.
I've always kind of thought it should be that way.
I only had one complaint, but then she was going to Sac County, but we were.
No.
No,
A lot of people that live on the lake have always allowed their grandchildren.
Grandkids.
Yeah.
I think as long as if you meet that requirement to be in all the parades the next year, I don't know how if that always happens, but anyway, but the pedal tractor pull is for sure.
Yes. Yes. The one thing I guess we had talked about happening that now is not happening is kiddie parade, so there is no kiddie parade. Just the evening of Saturday, after the pageant, it's just the beer gardens. But then there's fireworks, and that's right at dusk. We'll have the cash drawing after that, and the festivities will be over. Yeah, but if we could just have you approve the activities in the parade ground.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Holman. Tom. Thank you.
Yes.
Muller.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes,
We have to have another annual exam,
Annually.
annually.
Yeah, we did send out bid notices again. We only got the one back from Feldman, $4,100.
Have a motion to approve that. Second,
Second.
roll call.
Muller.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Holman.
Yes.
Reese.
yes.
We did get prices on our concrete.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at it, although I didn't get the one extra one on the farmer's market that I thought. A couple projects, and I'll ask you for approval tonight, is Lakeview Redemption Center, and then the farmer's market project. Okay, so this farmer's market project would have us pave the remainder of the farmer's market back to Vine Street, okay? And then
But
create,
not the 5 feet.
yeah, it actually cuts out the 5 feet of the
They
existing.
can just be out to the sidewalk
So
one.
the 5 feet all along the south side will remain the way it is, and you're just gonna pour cement on the north side, am I
I would
understanding?
do
No.
this, are you just gonna do the north side sidewalk?
No, this does everything. This cements in the entire parcel then, other than the south 5 feet,
Oh,
okay? And actually, it has this contractor remove the south 5 feet of the existing. That make sense?
I don't know why we would do that, why would we have to pay for that? We've sold it, we've sold the 5 feet supposedly, we're gonna sell this 5 feet as is, why do we pay to take the cement out?
Okay. Fair enough.
I agree.
And so with the 5 feet, because I haven't really gone and looked at, is there any grass left on the south side after you've taken that 5 feet on the other side of the sidewalk?
No.
Oh, on the south side of the sidewalk?
There'll be grass left?
5 feet?
No, excuse me. You know, so you're thinking about the existing parcel that's there, and you know it's colored concrete around the outside? 5 feet is more than the colored concrete. It goes another couple feet into the white concrete. And
So
so,
like there's grass down there, you know, like as you work your way east, there's grass.
Yeah.
Now the back half of it.
On the back half, on the east half of it, or the
turf
east.
grass, not the ornamental stuff. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Everything's proposed to be covered with, everything's proposed to be cement. Yep.
See, the only thing is, if you go across the sidewalk, Scott, you're only gonna be able to have one vendor anyway, shot along there. It ain't gonna, like, where Keisha said, there ain't gonna be room for facing.
Right.
That 5
Okay,
feet.
yep.
No, they'll just all run along the north side,
Right.
right? I'm just trying to figure out on the south side if there's grass or what we're doing, that's what I'm.
Well, they were gonna cover this fence, which they wouldn't have to do until the building was, you know, they could go 5, up to the 5 foot.
A 5 foot strip there. I mean, we wouldn't cover the 5 foot strip for the
Right, but you wanna cover the rest.
but the rest of it would be covered.
But what I would like to see covered is where they have tall grass up in the front. All it is place for ants and bugs.
You mean outside by the
Well, I'd like
sidewalk?
to just see a couple, like these bigger pots put in there for flowers and stuff. I think it'd look a lot nicer.
The ornamental grasses, it's where the ornamental grasses are on Main Street.
That are, yeah, but there's grasses inside. Are you talking about those, or are you talking about the ones outside on the front on the west side by the sidewalk?
I'd like to see it all go, because
I hate to take the grasses out on the outside of the farmer's market. I can see where you want those gone in the
it's all
inside.
gone anyway. They ruined it when they took the building down. The grass is gone.
The tall grass, the ornamental grasses.
It's only over on the north side. There ain't no grass on the south side.
But that's separate from these.
Well, yeah, I mean, see, what I'm saying is they ought to cement them across and then put some kind of pot
Well, the
thing.
thing is, nobody will water them.
Well, I would do it if I knew it had to be done, but
Let's do the redemption center first, we'll accept the low bid.
Are we doing both farmer's market and the redemption center? Do you have to have these separate?
They don't need to.
So why did we not, are these, how many bids were sent out, bid packets were sent out?
I just talked to these three, that's all.
Oh, I just wondered why Alan wasn't the, since he did the sidewalk and stuff, I just thought he would have.
Again, I guess you just picked one. We had Weber, we've had Weber, so that's kind of the initial.
So is there a plan for the redemption center sidewalk? I mean, do we have
Yeah.
a plan that's
It's-
gonna work?
It's as easy as it gets, is go from the door height of the entrance door to the redemption center to the top of the curb, constant slope from that area down.
So instead of going level down, it'll go,
Yes, it's
gradual.
constant slope.
and Jessica is agreeable.
She was great.
and they're doing the whole block.
Doing everything adjacent to the building, okay? So nothing out in the parking area, everything adjacent to the building.
Make a motion to take the two buildings.
I'll second it.
Sidewalk in the front, correct, Dave?
Correct.
And the second roll call.
Okay, well,
Yes.
Oliver,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes,
And on this sidewalk by the driveway elevator, around $6,000, is that something?
I've got two bids, but I'm not gonna tell you what they are, because like I said, I got two quotes out there to get them on.
Okay.
Wait on that.
Yeah, I don't want any action on that, that's, but I do, I guess, wanna make sure that everybody knows about that. The concept here is, so this is, north of the water plant, the city owns that entire half of that parcel, that's that entire 2-block stretch, okay? So on the north side, this would replace that sidewalk on the north side. There's an existing 4-foot sidewalk there, we propose to turn that into a 6-foot wide sidewalk. And, has a big, concrete driveway apron there for the entrance into what will be that parking lot.
That parking lot.
There you go.
In your parking lot.
So let's back up to the Speaker Park sidewalk. We had that, the low bid was 30,000, is that right?
Yeah, so,
Okay. The grant was 25,000?
yeah, and it only can fund half of the project.
Oh, so we're gonna take part of the grant money and do this? Maybe. Oh, we're
See if
gonna
they'll
fund
let us,
it.
yeah.
All right.
Because, when they put the actual quantities down in the park, will pay off of actual quantities.
I see. That's why the grant, I was thinking that you have a $30,000 project and a $25,000 grant, but they would only fund half of it, which would probably be 15,000.
Right,
I
the city
see.
council had committed, I think, 20,000. And we had that fundraiser, the comedy night out there at the country club, raised a couple $1,000 for the community clubs in it for $2,000, $2,500. So we've come up with enough money for it.
We got 3 bids on the fire station roof.
Yeah, just, I guess, point of explanation, Next Generation Buildings is John Swenson here in town. Talked with Jimmy Garles about that, about Next Generation, didn't have any concerns, and
Make a motion that we accept that low bid.
This,
Okay.
is there also, will that address did they talk about some sidewall or wall problems or?
they did, and this does not address that.
We just want to get the roof done first.
Yeah,
right?
so this is just the roofing. And, but I do want to, I guess, discuss the funding of this. They figured $5,000 or $7,000 for material, and now it's $16,800 for the total project. So what I would suggest is we'd pay it out of general fund, we'd end up amending their budget to allow for this current fiscal year now. But what I wanna do is take this cost, this 16.8, and incorporate it into the allocation to the townships to be considered for next fiscal year. Since they've already committed their stuff for this year, this will be for next year.
I agree, I think it's a good idea.
So how soon will we try to get the job, or the other part of the job completed?
For the siding,
Yeah,
they only talk about doing this year and then following up, which would potentially be next year to do the siding.
that's something we can live with, or?
Yeah, they seemed okay.
Okay.
You have a motion, you heard the second.
Yeah.
Who had motion?
I did.
Vicky, come in second.
To take the low bid next generation building.
Roll call.
Okay, Tom,
Yes.
Over,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Walton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Administrator report.
Just a couple things in it, and I had it down as a transient merchant, Mayor. But
What that is?
yes, it's a transient merchant that I was contacted, just know that I was contacted by a food trailer about the idea of coming in, getting a transient merchant license for to do smoothies and energy bars, and she talked that it might be this weekend. But just a reminder about, we changed our transient merchant ordinance here a couple of years ago to change the fee structure of it, but also said we'd issue up to 3 of these permits at any time. And the space for it is basically at the intersection of 3rd Street and Lake Street. We're north of the North Stone Pier, so that was the designated spot. So to see somebody there this weekend, I'd expect to see this merchant tomorrow and get the permit.
It's not the one we had a couple years ago.
No. No. But I know John had gotten a request about whether we could look at changing the location and getting them down into the, basically the boat ramp parking lot they were asking.
It's so cool.
Well, we do have this new code that says where it's supposed to be.
Well,
I don't like it up there. Why do you not like it up there?
No, she was just asked, she was there. We just called her for the meeting.
I don't like anything really competing that close to the,
Too much sand from the, the city down there. They were trying to make some.
I think that's one of the things we talked about when we changed it to that eight.
Yeah, I think
What is it now? They're selling smoke home?
Smoothies and energy. I think she said energy balls, or energy bars or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's the daughter of the guy that let us use the excavator for the harvesting grass for a couple years for free.
That's right.
For free.
I'm not against it, I just was wondering what it
I,
was.
They just want to be, they want to be there by the lift stations. Whatever it is, it is.
by the boat station or the lift station.
So the lift stations, right,
By
as
the
they come
lift
in,
station?
lift station, there's the lift station right there.
Oh,
Drive in.
oh.
That ordinance, that's what it is.
Hey, a couple more things. We had the harvester out running today.
Really?
Bill Farley was out running and training Lyle. Had it out the entire morning and didn't find anything out there to speak of. And Lyle didn't go out this afternoon. Shootneck was going to be one of our new operators.
So
Maybe
why
just
is
park it for
that
now.
this year? Why is
The water's so really grassed.
It is,
Well,
it
there's
is
not-
very dirty.
Not carp,
more park?
that's what they say.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
But I do think there's some out there because when we were out, we saw
Oh, there's
some further
quite-
along the.
There's a patch here.
No, I
and there.
don't, I'm talking about the carp, I mean the grass.
Grass. There's a
Yes.
patch here and there, but not very good.
Yeah,
They
right,
said
yeah,
what
well, no,
sure
they're
that
not
is,
very
but,
good.
It's hard to find.
they have carp that's non-fertile carp.
Grass carp.
Grass carp, and that's what they said we should have put in there instead of running that machine.
I don't know, they put some out in that country club pond and I didn't see where they were needed.
I don't know, I
Put in
guess,
5, I can.
people said, oh, you'd be better off to.
I don't know.
I think there's enough carp in You know, if they're fishing and they throw
So
minnows
are you
in
gonna
there,
start the
there's
carp
probably some.
contest back at?
I think, we'll leave that to the Lake Association.
Maybe, well, yeah. Couple other little things for you. See that Lakeview is gonna host a Northwest Iowa League of Cities meeting, and that'll be on Thursday, July 30th. Okay? We don't usually meet during the summertime, but we haven't met since February. So they wanted to get together, so they said we would host, but we'll host it as a cookout in the park, so that people can get together, but yet still social distance. So that's
Our favorite
Thursday.
grillers are gonna grill.
We'll need to, we'll need to provide the food and I think we'll just do a grill out. So, kind of plan on that.
So,
We can-
this is the one for the county,
This is Northwest Iowa,
huh?
but yeah, same deal. Probably be about 40, 50 people.
I had the opportunity to visit with, what is his name, that comes to the council meetings, or comes to those Northwest Iowa things from Sioux City. You know, Bob comes from there, but also Alex.
No, it's okay.
And then I also happened to meet one of the other council members that owns the Soho restaurant down on 4th Street, and she's newly elected, and got to visit with her quite a while. So, her and Alex are,
Is she related to somebody here?
yeah, she's related to Linda Dillon.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
No.
it was interesting to talk.
Couple other things yet. I think I would, one more vacation day this Friday. We're gonna move Jackie into her house over in Iowa City. Yes, and here's a nuisance spreadsheet. I just wanted to go through this with Dave Jennett, a little bit of explanation on this. I turned all of those nuisance notices, Dave, into a spreadsheet that they can just kind of see what's going on and see what everybody was given notice about, that they're all written notices. They were all issued on the 25th of June, with the days to remedy being July 15th. So that was, everything's supposed to be done by then, but you can see what the steps are to take care of that. A couple of them do deal with painting. Now the top one there, police department had also given them a citation, sent out a citation to them that had a different date on it, of August 28th. And she came down and talked with me about that, and certainly we would honor that August 28th date, Dave. So, if we looked at, your citation said 7/15, and that would change to 8/28.
Which one's that, Scott?
Chuck Wallison?
Okay.
There's a couple properties that aren't on here. Are they on a different list?
These are just the 9 that David just sent out.
Okay.
Okay.
So could we ever see a list of the total list?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. And see
How about that you and
up the buses that had horsepower.
Yeah, I got a couple too.
Although the other thing, and we did get a court order also on cleaning up the property. And I'll tell you about that. I'm done.
Motion to adjourn,
I'll make it.
second,
I'll second.
being adjourned.